Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're tuning in here, my good friends. And if you're new, my name is Naomi, and I have been really loving sharing these different oracle cards and readings and blending that with a little bit of astrology, a little bit of Reiki energy, and kind of wrap it all up together with doing kind of a collective healing for the group that we're establishing. So I'm so glad that you're here. And today, actually, I kind of wanted to do something a little different. So I usually just pull the cards and kind of tune in and see what the guides have in store for us or what the stars have to tell us. And today's a little bit like that, but we're going to do something I've never tried before, which is go on an oracular journey. What does that mean? Well, I guess we're going to find out, right? But I am going to pull from this deck here, and I'll tell you the reason why I'm pulling from this deck. It's called the Sacred Forest Oracle with this beautiful woman on a Pegasus. Yeah, so I just love her artwork. It's by Denise Lynn, who is an incredible wisdom carrier oracle woman herself. She makes beautiful, beautiful illustrated cards. So we're going to tune into her deck and kind of go a little bit on a oracle voyage with that. So what I wanted to start out with, though, is first say thank you to the friends that joined on the new moon. That actually is the new moon candle that we all lit together for collective healing. And I just wanted to, it's still burning. And we're still a little bit in that new moon newness. And it just would be nice to just keep that going and amplify it a bit and really just allow that healing to take root. And it's full of intention and everything that we poured in there. So if you want to add your intention, your heart intention to the candle, by all means, enjoy and do, because that is a candle for all of us, whether you were there at the ceremony or not. And there will be many more. So I plan to host these forever, I guess, but it'd be great to see you sometime. So, what else? What else? What else? I guess we'll just dive into why I picked this deck. This deck, I was kind of wandering the house this morning, kind of tuning in, like, well, I wonder what I'm gonna do today, and like, how's this reading gonna go? And I wanted to pull from a deck that I hadn't really talked to in a while, and this is the one that was like me, the Sacred Forest Oracle. And again, let me show you the front of the card. It's just got this Pegasus. Well, as I was looking at the astrology for today and the stars, Neptune is actually conjunct the heart of the Pegasus in the constellation. And so the heart of the Pegasus, that star is Merkab. They all have such beautiful Arab names. I just adore them. So Merkab is the heart of the Pegasus. And of course, tuning into the heart of the Pegasus, my goodness, that's like the heart of gold, isn't it? So, and such a sense of adventure and wildness. So, a little bit about the reason that I wanted to do this kind of adventure with you guys today is just tuning into the energy is like right now, there's so much going on in the world. And I'm sure many of you have seen the news, and it's just like, it's just so much simultaneously. And so much about our sense of um, standing in our authentic truth and really being allowed to be who we are without someone giving us permission to do it. That we are our own authority to give ourselves permission to express ourselves the way that we choose to love the people that we choose to dress the way we choose to live our lives the way we choose to. So many of these ways in which our birthright is actually to be sovereign. And then we come to this planet to learn through some challenges of, sometimes you learn what you want by not getting what you want. And I feel like a lot of that is happening right now. And there's a lot of people that are actively working on that. And so I wanted to really dedicate this reading to the people that are on the front of that, and starting to show the world who they are and what they're here to do and how powerful they are. So just really wanted to say thank you to all the people who are working so hard to make everybody have a sense of freedom. So anyway, poof, get all choked up about that. So drink some tea. Let those feelings just flow. And we're going to go on an adventure to bring back a sense of wonder, a sense of joy, a sense of peace, and allow the heart of the Pegasus to lead us somewhere special. So, tea is so soothing. Okay, so I wanted to just, first of all, before we actually jump in, I want to do a little clearing. So we've got some sage. We'll do some sage, some hand-grown sage from my wee little sage plant that's working so hard to provide these smudging tools for us. It's good to connect and grow your own smudging tools. All right. I hope everybody's feeling a little bit more clear with that. And then we'll call on our guides, as always, our ancestors, as always, and allow them to actually come through in a pure and beautiful way, and hold our hand as we do this beautiful journey to wherever it is that we go today. And so with this little deck, the Ancestors and Angels Oracle, which I just adore, we'll pull on a guide. Let's see who this is. Oh, look at that. Crow is coming in with autumn. And wow, my gosh, I have definitely been feeling the change of season. So suddenly it went from scorching, scorching hot, unbelievable heat wave, to cool autumn, crisp. The leaves are falling. And so the guide that is coming in to help us and assist our journey today is Crow. Or perhaps this is Raven, because many times decks call on Raven. But that Corvid energy, and that Corvid energy is just, I love it. So, and you can check out the video where we actually did talk to Crow. But Crow knows also how to navigate through dimensions and through worlds, and is that shaman energy, that magic totem to navigate through anything with ease. Spunk. Okay. So welcome to Crow, who's gonna be the one that anchors and supports this journey. And now we're actually gonna call on Pegasus. So Pegasus and our good friend Neptune, who's hanging out in the heart of Pegasus right now, if it could come in and show us, wow, just where we're headed today. Ooh, interesting. Okay. This is Storm Spirit Chaos. And then this one is Toadstools Growth. So here we begin. We'll do a little storytelling. And this is where you can just kind of lean back wherever you're sitting and just start to close your eyes and imagine that you have just traveled with Pegasus. You've just traveled on the back of the Pegasus and you've flown past mountains and rivers, across spans of ocean, and you have arrived in a land that you have never seen before. And it drops you gently right there at the foot of a very wide, hilly expanse where a meadow begins to turn into a forest. And there accompanying you is a raven. And the raven sits calmly upon your shoulder as you walk into this kind of misty, shadowy forest. A forest that is beginning to shed some of its leaves. The ones that are evergreen stand tall and cast shade upon the ground. And up ahead, you can see off a little ways that's starting to roll in a huge thunderstorm, an incredible thunderstorm. And this thunderstorm, it's scattering the birds. They're off. Everyone's flying. It's a cacophony of cawing sounds and scurrying feet. Everyone seeking shelter, finding the place where they will be nestled away from the rains and the winds and the lightning. But there is something inside you that's actually soothed by this storm coming in. This storm is actually quite cleansing, and you can feel that spark, those ions in the air beginning to get electrified, and everything feels new amidst the change. So you keep walking with Crow upon your shoulder, and Crow every now and then seems to point in the direction with his long beak, showing you which way, as you turn past trees, rocks, small creeks, and finally reaching a small little alcove where you two can ride out the storm as it rolls on past. You're starting to feel drips of water coming through the trees. The rain is beginning to actually start to pour. But luckily, you have found a sweet little spot. This little spot is a small little cave just tucked at the base of the mountain. And this small little cave offers you a very cozy shelter where you can still witness the storm. You can still be with the storm and the excitement and the energy and the thrill of the lightning and the thunder, which is getting louder and stronger and shaking the earth with each of its thunder ripples. But you are so safe, nestled against these very strong, capable stones that prop this cave open wide. And here in this cave, you start to see in and around you small little mushrooms, the tiniest little toadstools, so bright, so colorful, so energized with life. And here you see is an entire ring of toadstools. You sit in this cave admiring all of this new growth and the interconnectedness of all of the information and wisdom being shared here. The toadstools, these are the wisdom teachers of the forest. They group together in small little clumps and friends to share the information coming through the roots and the soil. And so you sit side by side with these beautiful little mushrooms. And you gently close your eyes here in this cave. And you drift a little, as mushrooms do make you drift. And they make you see, and they make you know. And you realize that there is someone else there with you in the cave. A very gentle presence, a very strange presence, a very quirky, mushroomy presence. And this creature is the tender of the mushrooms, the ones who have been in the forest long, long before we got there, and will be in the forest long, long after we leave. And you sit next to this wisdom teacher, the one who's the caretaker of the mushroom people. And the mushroom person tells you a story. Tells you a story of the forest and how you too are connected to the forest. And that you always have been and always will be. And that you are also part of this interconnected web. And so the mushroom person is actually telling a story about you and why it is that you came to visit today, to seek shelter from the storm. The mushrooms tell you a little bit more about where it is you're trying to go and the easiest, most effortless way to get there. The mushroom person takes you by the hand and leads you gently to a very clear, crisp spring. And this rolling, rippling water is just full of life. The mushroom person then shows you all the different beings that live in and amongst the rocks. This water is so full. There are otters playing, tumbling joyfully in the current. And so you sit side by side, dipping your feet in this crisp, cool water. The storm is still raging above you, but the trees are so sheltering that you don't even seem to notice, except for the fact that the trees way up in the canopy are wildly moving with the wind, and you can still hear the thunder rolling past. But the otters don't seem to mind. The flickering fireflies don't seem to mind. This place is incredibly sheltered. And so you take your hands and form a cup and begin to take long, cool sips of this water, allowing this water to go into each and every one of your own interconnected pieces. And the mushroom person shows you how you are also a web of connectivity within your own body. And this water nourishes every single cell. The mushroom person whispers into the water dreams and wishes and wisdom. And as you drink, you begin to remember. You begin to remember why it is you chose to be here at such an exciting time of human history, where the world is in this thunderstorm. And the water begins to remind you of all the ways you clear and clean and shift the energy around you, bringing in more and more and more joy to every place where you touch, live, be. With one last cooling, refreshing sip of the water, you journey back with the mushroom person back to the cave where you were at. She hands you something very dear to her to remind you of her visit and your time together at the creek. She hands this to you, knowing that you will keep it safe and that it will remind you of the time that you shared. You look up and you start to notice that the thunder hasn't really stopped, but the rain has started to move along. It's no longer as drenching as it was. And you walk off to go meet the Pegasus, who is still waiting for you at the end of this forest where it meets the meadow. You say goodbye to everyone and everything that you met in the forest. The cave, the creek, the otters, the mushroom person, and the rolling thunder. And you hop back onto the back of the Pegasus and fly all the way back, 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 back until you reach this place right here in your body now. And you can hold this little journey safe and tucked away in your own heart for safekeeping. Welcome back. So that was something new and different. I wanted to experiment and see how it felt to do a little journey with the cards. And I think that that's actually a beautiful little message that we got. First of all, I think it's interesting how storm spirit and water spirit came together, that without storms and rain, the water would never be refreshed, that we need the water cycle to refresh and renew water. And I think that goes with so many other, if we look at that metaphorically, that things are fresh and clean and new after a storm. Like, just imagine, after you also experience having the, like, let's say you have a good cry and you really just like, you feel that wash, like the energy afterwards, you're empty and you are clear. And it is actually very cleansing. So I almost feel like this is all of us and Earth as well going through such a storm. But then that this storm energy is actually here to wash and clean and renew our sense of self and bring us back to what is important, bring us back to what we truly value. And I loved that Toadstool came in with growth of, weaving back our parts so that our entire body is in communication with each other. And I feel like that is what the medicine of mushroom does. Using different medicinal mushrooms, like, cooking, especially if you don't know about reishi. I love reishi mushrooms. And putting them in soup, they're so healing. The healing properties of mushrooms is just amazing and off the charts. And so many studies have been happening, especially now where it's a little less taboo to get your hands on mushrooms and but not just like those kind, but just in general, all different kinds are very healing to the nervous system. The same way that mushrooms communicate with all pieces of the forest, they also communicate with the small interweavings of you. So yeah, I don't know. I sometimes, I haven't done this in a little while, but I've got a mushroom powder that I actually put in my tea. It kind of makes it a little bit earthy. It's an acquired taste, but it really does help it helps clear brain fog and helps revitalize your energy. It's good stuff. So I'm curious to see how people felt about going on an oracle adventure. I'd love to hear feedback on that if you are willing to share. But I also think it would be nice for us to grab a crystal, and I think just a crystal. today because I feel like we have the animal came in with Raven and Pegasus, and we got a little bit of an herb-ish. Is mushroom like, yeah, I think mushroom is kind of a standalone in the plant, in the flora. But let's see. So we will do a crystal since we did not get one of those. So let's see what crystal is coming out to support this inner journey, as well as, riding the storm that's happening. And frankly, we live in this time of tumultuous energy that things will continue to be this stormy clearing of energy. We came in to experience this and to be part of this time of change and upheaval and renewal and the way things are evolving and changing. We're part of that. So we're strong people for doing this. So let's get a crystal that will help support us. Citrine. Gosh, I love citrine. Oh, citrine really does bring the joy back in. Joy and that that glowing yumminess that comes out of your heart when you are in that space of like blissed out energy. Just imagine it's just like it's shiny as the candle, like it's that effervescent yumminess that comes out. And it says full of riches. And look at that, look at this. There are these little crows hanging out in this card. Oh, I love it. That's beautiful. Okay, so let's take a look at what she says about citrine. And this picture is much bigger, so take a look and appreciate the imagery a bit more. I love how the citrine is kind of in a bubble wand. That's pretty cute. Okay. Citrine has no patience for navel gazing and narcissism. There's a whole world out there, Citrine admonishes, guiding your attention to the abundance around you. Tune outward, Citrine reminds, watching as you haltingly move your gaze from your own troubles to the tiny leaves unfurling on the oak tree's branches. Citrine knows that it can be tough to turn your ear to the whisper of the crow wings cutting the afternoon stillness when you're used to listening to your own internal monologues and self-deprecating harangues. But citrine is persistent in pushing you beyond yourself, nodding sagely as you slowly slip out of self-absorption and into the stillness of contentment. The world is of riches, citrine affirms, and in that abundance, you'll find your joy. So if you have a piece of citrine, or even if you don't, just like tapping into the energy of citrine to fill your bucket, fill your joy reservoir right now. Because if it is depleted, it just means that you have been focusing too much on the troubles instead of focusing on everything else that is beautiful and that brings you light and love and excitement. So while it is, it's important to not have your head stuck in the sand and tune out the entire world, it's also really important to come back to yourself and come back to your joy, because that's what keeps you strong. And then if you are just crumbling under the weight of the world and who's strong then? So coming back into our joy keeps us excited to keep going and keep loving and keep showing up and keep doing what we do. And yeah, there we go. So anyway, I'm curious to see how that went for all of you. And yeah, if this is something that's fun, maybe I'll do more of them. So anyway, blessings to everyone. I hope that you all have a really beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next reading. Right. Bye for now.